Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Bolivar Board of Education November 2025 meeting. At this time, join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. It's customary that we begin our evening with commendations, and as the school year rolls on, our list continues to grow. We have a team with us that we would like to recognize
Yeah,
here.
we've had a lot of success for sure. Well, I actually have Athletic Director Colt Blair come and introduce our guests tonight.
Yeah, so if our girls tennis team want to stand up, would you like them to come on up here as well?
Yes, please.
Yeah, and Coach Rothiner, if you want to come up here and kind of give a quick recap. I told him I would not steal his thunder, so he's gonna do the speaking.
All right, go ahead and face the board. There you go.
Face us.
Look at us.
Close and personal.
You're like, what?
My sympathies for having to get a good one. I'm
Whose child
sorry.
is that?
I'm so close.
I don't.
Well, first, thanks for having us. And before I forget, I do need to thank you guys for all your support to the program and to these girls and everything. It's a fantastic group. I want to first introduce them. Cami Bryan, just raise your hand. Emma Goodman, Jill Horner, Josie Thomas, Jaylee Bryant, Adeline C., Ellie Samick, Ella Roberts, and then not with us tonight is Sadie Reisner. Okay, these girls broke a school record as far as my research goes back, which is 2000 or so, with accumulating 23 wins on the season. And that's second only for both boys and girls to the boys, and then my boys finished 24-1 last year, and these guys were right there knocking at that door. So that in itself is really good. They finished OMC champs, so we were the conference champs, which our conference was pretty loaded, so it was a good, strong finish there, beating Branson and CJ and eventually and Raj. So those are always great. They finished third in Class 1 at state. And again, we were probably the second best team there. We just had the unfortunate draw of playing Clayton in the semifinals, and I've seen them a lot the last few years, and I'm tired of seeing them. But I do have to recognize Jill and Cami. For only the second time in our program's history, we have state champs. They won state champ doubles in Class 1 and really just kind of steamrolled the competition. They didn't drop a set the whole time, and it's really kind of a testament to their hard work and everything that they've done over the past, they've played together for 3 years, and so it was pretty outstanding. 7 of these 9 young ladies up here are seniors. And so we're going to lose a lot. But this group of seniors, they've been responsible for 4 district titles and 2 Final Four appearances and just a wealth of other accolades. The most important thing is the type of young ladies that they've become. I cannot tell you how many times I've been complimented from other players, coaches, parents, other administrators on how awesome they are. Not just like good at tennis, but how well they represent each other, how well they represent our school, and just just so many different times they've been like very complimented. So it's all them. They're awesome. Okay. That's all I got.
What an amazing run. I mean, and obviously, this Bolivar tennis program doesn't, they reload every year. And so even with 9 seniors, I bet you that they're going to come right back and be competitive again next year. And so thanks to the seniors, though, for everything that you've done. It's been fun seeing this group grow up over the last 4 years, too. So, and obviously has a lot to do with their coaches.
Wow.
Dedicate a lot of time to helping make sure they grow and improve over the course of the year, too.
Appreciate it. And my assistant, Royce Bryan's not here. Couldn't do it without him. Obviously, he's helps me keep me in check. So he's really good.
Hearing about the success is great, but your character stays with you your lifetime. And that's what I celebrate the most, despite your great success playing and competing at the state level. That's what I'm most proud of. So, great job. It's customary that when you come on an evening like this, somebody from the school says, hey, we'll buy you pizza or ice cream. I don't know which one you're leaning toward. I think somebody with the last name Blair said that they would.
Dr. Dan Goodman told me he was going to pick up the tab.
Did he? However, I double checked and they say it's Royce Bryan's going to do it. So tomorrow at school, tell Coach Bryan, or tonight, tell him that I personally said that he's on the hook for pizza or ice cream, okay? Cam, will you do that for me?
Probably not the first time.
Okay.
See if Barges can get us a good deal or something.
Yeah,
There you go.
they might be able to.
There you go.
Girls, thank you so much. We're so proud of you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. We have more to share, and Dr. Coffey's going to tell us, brag on the high school, middle school a little bit for us.
Hey, at the high school, Michaela Methvin was a national qualifier for advanced prepared public speaking. She finished top 8 in the nation. I believe that was FFA.
Yes.
BHS boys cross country, 4th place in the state. BHS girls cross country, 8th place in the state. Mac Rich, Landon Young, Emma Howe, and Michaela Young medaled the state. BHS girls softball, Carly Cribbs, Josie Mays, and Michaela Methvin, and Aubrey Funk earned all region honors. In BHS volleyball, Abby Kaufman, Heidi Roten, and Skylar Moore were all district. BHS girls golf, Delaney Daniels was all state. BHS choir, Sadie Reisner, all state honor choir, honorable mention. BHS band, all district honor band selections, Eileen Siegfried, Emma Howes, Sadie Reisner, and Lydia Tilley. And then CMH for providing the evening meals for the 2025 Senior Citizen Night. Our Special Olympics team, BMS and BHS Special Olympics athletes competed at Enterprise Park Lanes and Springfield for their fall season bowling championship against other area schools. The team had 22 competitors and they all earned a medal. 15 won gold, 5 won silver, and 2 won bronze. At our Bolivar Middle School, thank you to Nick and Jen Campbell for donating pizza for a teacher lunch on October 31st. We are so appreciative of this kindness. Congratulations to Lindsay Rosler. She presented at the Missouri Educators of Family and Consumer Sciences. The chair of the conference committee sent a letter of appreciation for her and the quality of her presentation. Ms. Rosler is a leader within our building and in the larger family and community science community.
All right, jumping to the primary school. Family reading night was a huge success thanks to Mrs. Tisha Clausen. She partnered with the community in order to help purchase a book for all students and provide dinner at family night. Sponsors were Bolivar Elementary PTA, Ryan Pinkston, Grand Missouri Bank, Mid-Missouri Bank, CMH, Craig Lehman, Oakstar Bank, Jenny Williams with Flat Branch Loans, Wilson Investments, Creditor Lights, and Granger Counseling. That was an amazing event. I know I missed the senior citizen night, but that was an awesome event. I don't know how many people in total were there, but it was packed, and the author and illustrator were there. It was awesome event and good dinner. So with Bolivar ECLC, family trunk or treat drive-through was a huge success. We are thankful for the families that donated and participated in our family event. We are also thankful for the partnership with OCAC as they participated in hosting a trunk and invited families to attend as well. We look forward to growing this event each year with other local early childhood facilities. I want to thank CNR Autoglass for the sponsored lunch from Barges Pizzas. It was a nice way to celebrate first quarter learning and goals with staff. All staff left for their fall break with full bellies and hearts. We also want to thank Mrs. Linda Zanata for her beautiful and thoughtful gift to the building. Her personalized hand-quilted flags add the perfect touch of love and sweetness to our building. We're forever grateful for the support from Mr. and Mrs. Zanata.
Thank you guys for reading those. Always lots to celebrate in the middle of a busy school year. At this time, we need to vote to approve our consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All right, Lynn and Brian, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, very good. Moving on. CSIP updates.
At the top of our reports this month, we're going to have our annual financial audit, and I'll bring to the podium Director of Finance and HR, Chelsea Aberdan.
Good evening. Tonight we have Waylon Mueller with us from KPM CPA. Sorry, said that wrong. And he is going to present to you an overview of how our 24-25 audit went. So I'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here tonight. As Chelsea said, my name is Wayland Mueller. I'm a CPA and manager with KPM CPAs. Tonight I'll be presenting to you the audit for 24-25. You all should have a bound copy of the report in front of you, so you can follow along with me as I go. So I would like to first start with page 3. And if you forget everything else I tell you, this is really the most important thing to remember. And what these 3 pages are, starting on page 3 of the report, this is our independent auditor's report. It's also known as the opinion letter. And this is where we issue our opinion on whether or not the financial statements that follow are presented fairly. And so I will draw your attention to the second paragraph. This is where we issue our opinion. It says, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly. And so what this means, this is a clean opinion. It's an unmodified opinion, so it's the best opinion that we can offer. And what that means to all of you is that we believe that these are financial statements that can be relied upon as an accurate representation of the 24-25 fiscal year. So with that, I'll take you to a brief overview of the financial statements for the year, and we'll skip over to page 18, and that's where the fund financial statements start. And you'll notice there are columns for each of the funds of the district. So there's a column for the general fund, special revenue, debt service, and capital projects fund. So this first statement that I'm showing you here is the statement of assets and fund balances. This is like a balance sheet, but on the cash basis. So you'll notice the top line there, cash and investments. This is where the district ended the year in terms of cash and investments in each fund. So you'll notice in the general fund, there was $6.1 million at the end of the year. Debt service fund, $1.56 million. And the capital projects fund, $11.56 million. In total, the district ended with $19,229,354. The bottom section of this statement right here shows if there are any restrictions on those cash balances and fund balances at the end of the year. And so you'll notice the largest restriction is in the capital projects fund for $7.9 million, and that is related to the unspent proceeds from the 2024 bond issue. The next page I'll take you to is page 19. This is the statement of receipts, disbursements, and changes in fund balances. And so this is similar to an income statement for those of you in the business world. So the top section shows the receipts, similar to revenues that the district received in the year. The second block section is for the disbursements, showing the money going out of the district. And then the bottom part shows the net effect of all of that. So I'd really like to just focus on the bottom of this report, where we look at the net changes in the fund balances and the ending fund balances for the year. So you'll see if you look at combined the general revenue and special revenue fund, these are your operating funds combined. There was a small increase, about $7,500 roughly, combined between those two funds. The debt service fund saw an increase of $132,956, and then the capital projects fund saw a decrease of about $2.5 million. And I will point out that the decrease in the capital projects fund is not unexpected, because that's related to the bond projects and all those projects going on. So all that money that came in 2024 with the bond issue is being spent down. So this decrease in fund balance is to be expected. So then you'll see the bottom line there. The general fund ended with $6.1 million. Debt service fund ended with $1.56 million. Capital projects fund ended with about $11.6 million. Well, I'll take you to the next page, page 20. This is where the notes to the financial statements begin. And the notes to the financial statements, there's several pages, pages 20 through 29. And These notes I'm not going to go over in detail, but they provide good explanatory information for a lot of the numbers that are presented earlier in the financial statements. So if you have a question about something in the financial statements, there's a good chance that there's something talking about it in the notes. So now we'll skip over to page 45. Page 45 is where we issue our report on management's assertions about compliance with specific requirements of Missouri laws and regulations. This is a required part of the work that we do. This is an examination of the district's compliance with different aspects of state laws and regulations. So things like reporting attendance hours to DESI or reporting bus ridership and mileage, that kind of thing. So we are required, DESI requires that we issue an opinion on this as well. And so I'll draw your attention to the second paragraph from the bottom. This is the most important thing to remember from this section of the presentation, is that, in our opinion, Bolivar R1 School District complied in all material respects. So there is no exception mentioned at all, so this is the best opinion we can give on this section as well. So then next, I'll take you to page, actually we'll skip over to the letters. There's two letters that were provided with your bound report. There's our management recommendation letter, and then there's what we call the governance letter. The recommendation letter is the one that looks like this. It has number 1, cybersecurity and internal controls, about halfway down the page. So every year we try to provide some kind of recommendations that can help the district out. And we only have 2 this year. And the first one is one that we're providing to every district that we audit. And this has to do with cybersecurity and internal controls, specifically as how they relate to disbursements. So if you think about any time a vendor is paid by an ACH or a wire transfer, we're just giving the district some bullet points here of things to think about to ensure that when those payments are made, that money is going where you think it's going. And like I said, this is a recommendation we're giving all of our school districts this year. Then the second recommendation, this is another recommendation that we have for all of our clients this year. Periodically, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board will issue new accounting pronouncements or standards that can have an impact on the financial statements prepared by the district. And there is one standard that was issued that will go into effect for the 25-26 fiscal year, and that is GASB Statement 103. And how this will affect the district, it will make your financial statements look a little bit different next year. The management discussion and analysis section, there will be a requirement for an extended or expanded analysis section. So that could look a little bit different next year. And then the part of the report where we show the budgetary comparison schedules, so we can show where we show the original budget, final budget, and actual results. There's a requirement starting this fiscal year to show new columns for variances related to the original budget. So not just comparing the final budget to actual, but comparing the original budget to actual as well. So it's nothing that will, I would think, cause a lot of extra work for the district because it's information that you'll already have. It's just your financial statements will look a little bit different next year. So that was it for those letters. The last letter that we have is what we call our governance letter, and this letter contains several items that we are required as auditors to communicate to the governing body, so in this instance, the Board of Education. And we can do that either with an oral presentation or in writing, and we're doing it both. We'd like to put it in writing, that way we don't forget one of the required elements. But in this letter, there's only 2 things I really want to point out. The first is about halfway down the page. In italics, it says difficulties encountered in performing the audit. We are pleased to report that we encountered no such difficulties. Number 2, in italics, it also says disagreements with management. And for purposes of this letter, a disagreement has to do with financial accounting, reporting, or auditing. And we are pleased to report that we had no such disagreements in that regard as well. The last piece I did want to mention, if you look at your reports this year and compare them to last year, you'll notice there's a whole section that isn't in there related to the audit of federal programs. And there's a reason for that, and I just wanted to mention it real briefly. We are required, and not just our firm, but all auditors that audit governmental entities, we are required to follow the guidance called Uniform Grant Guidance. And with that, there's a requirement that auditors follow the most recent issued compliance supplement related to auditing these federal programs. And the problem is, OMB issues this compliance supplement every year. They have issued a draft of it, but the final version has not come out yet for 2025 for a number of reasons, and probably the federal government shutdown did not help things. So that has been delayed. But the good news is DESE is well aware of that, so they know that that whole section on federal programs, that single audit of the federal programs, they know that that's not going to be included in what you're getting tonight and what gets submitted by December 31st. So they're well aware of that. But we've done all the work on that. I just can't report anything on it until we get that final document from the OMB. But we have that ready to go, and once we get that, we'll send that to all of you, and you'll have that report as well. We're guessing at this point that it'll be January, but that's just a guess on our part. So with that, I'll take any questions, but I do want to make sure I thank Chelsea and her staff. When we do an audit, it's a lot of work for us, but it's more work for them. They have to prepare for our audit, and then when we're here, they're pulling lots of documents and answering our questions, so we definitely appreciate all of their help.
Have
Yes.
you seen many mistakes with school districts sending money through wire or transfer? Like, is that happening? I mean, is it?
It's not common, but it happens.
How's
and
that happen? Like, how's that happening?
An example is, I've seen this where, like, say you have a big construction project going on, and you have, your the construction company or contractor. Those payments can be big. Like
700,000.
Yeah, like hundreds of thousands, $1 million, whatever. Well, like if there's a problem with like the check getting to them or whatever, that can be a problem. So sometimes a vendor might contact the district and say, hey, it would really help us out if you paid us by wire or ACH. Here's our banking information. Can you set us up for that? And a lot of accounting systems are set up for that. It's pretty easy. You just go in, put in the information, and then when you run your accounts payable check run, instead of cutting a check, there's a file that gets created, it gets sent to the bank, and the bank gets notified, that money gets shipped off. So it does happen. And then the problem with that is you have to be careful that that whoever is requesting that payment is your vendor. Right. And the banking information they're giving you is their banking information, and it's not a bogus vendor out there, some kind of like a phishing attempt or whatever, somebody getting the district to send the money to a bank that is not related to your vendor. So it does happen. It's not super common, but the reason we mention it, the reason we mention it is it can be big dollars, and once that money leaves the district, it's hard to get it back.
We've seen businesses at the bank get hacked or whatever, and then they'll email the bank, saying they need a wire sent or whatever. So like if we had when construction companies get hacked, send, hey, these are our new wiring instructions, without a phone call back or something. It happens really fast, and like you said, large dollars, it's hard to get back once it goes out. So.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you for being here tonight.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
What was like getting good news?
Yes.
Appreciate KPM and the big thanks to Chelsea and her team. Obviously, as he mentioned, a lot of work goes in on the front end, and this year in particular, it was super smooth, and lots of feedback while they were still here about how everything was plated up. So thank you, Chelsea.
I actually missed a component 2 of consent agenda, so I'm going to backtrack and take care of that. So we need a motion to approve check number 25509 to Coral Supply with me abstaining. So do we have a motion? Drew? Thank
Second.
you. Lynn? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And again, nope. My abstaining from that. Okay, moving on.
Next up, we have this month's school spotlight is Bolivar Middle School, and we have Dr. Brooke Campbell, principal, to give us an update on some of the great things that are happening at BMS.
Good evening. Okay, I want to get started by just giving a shout out. Today was our Thanksgiving lunch, and it is just such a wonderful experience. The first picture is a group of kids eating together, and then the second we had a variety of staff helping out today to make that possible. We've got some counselors, our registrar in the back. I was serving pie in a suit coat. You know, I mean, it's just a really, really great day. So I just appreciate the tradition of that in our district. Okay, so we'll get started with a look at Bolivar Middle School. So we are home to 571 students, 208 sixth graders, 171 seventh graders, and 192 eighth graders. At BMS, we thrive. We're working together to prepare every student for success, and we do that each day by learning with a purpose, growing boldly, and leading the way. Our 3 big priorities are intentionally aligned to the district's 3 big priorities. So for us, first one is learning with purpose. That reflects our continuous attention to effective teaching and learning and professional learning teams. Secondly, we're growing boldly. That aligns to the district's focus on creating a safe and caring environment. And then thirdly, we're leading the way through our collaborative climate and culture. We think that together, the district's 3 big ideas and what we do at BMS, that we're setting kids up to have really great opportunities for what lies ahead for them. So let's take a look at something specifically that we're doing at BMS. So within safe and caring learning environment, we added a new thing to our schedule this year called 0 hour, and it literally falls before first hour in the 0 hour spot, and it is an intentional focus on behavior. So each week as a building, we have an I will statement. Here are 3 for you just to look at on the screen. The I will statements are building wide, and they're also tied to an executive function skill, where we spend some time looking at that executive function and also diving into some of these things, which are really helpful for middle schoolers when we're taking time to look at what does it mean to turn in assignments on time and manage your workload? What does it mean to stay focused when there are distractions? How do I ask for help when I don't know how to do something? I have had a very interesting vantage point this year in that I traveled with one group of students. So I saw them as 5th graders, and I now see them as 6th graders. It's an apples to apples comparison, which is a unique perspective that I'll never have again. But what it has allowed me to see is that even within our 0 hour, that we are going to customize it next year to be very specific to each grade level and the things that they need. That transition from 5th to 6th is tough. They pretty much do an about face where they have this elementary experience and all of a sudden they have a totally different experience. So our 0 hour next year is going to be even more fine-tuned to be specialized to what that grade level needs, what that particular year is presenting to those students. I have a big passion for creating a multi-tiered system of support, just did a dissertation on it. So I've done a lot of work in this realm, and intentional time in Tier 1 on behavior is the only thing of statistical significance that shows an impact across behavior. So we feel like it's really important for us to dedicate time in our schedule. Right now, we have 12 minutes in our day dedicated to behavior. We do that across the week. I open it up on Monday with a video, and then the teachers take it from there on Tuesday through Friday. Next year, it'll be a similar look. It may fall at a different spot during the day, but all of that still, we're ironing those pieces out. Okay, Flipping over to effective teaching and learning, and in this, learning with a purpose, this is our most important thing that we do every single day. That's why parents send them to us, is that we come each day to learn with a purpose. And in doing this year, the one thing that I really want to highlight is our ELA department, which is currently in the implementation of SAVIS My Perspectives. This has been a lift for our ELA department, and I'm really proud of them. We are spending intentional time diving also simultaneously into Maria Nelson's 15-day challenge work, where we're intentionally unpacking the standards of each unit, making sure that we understand them to the depth that the standard is written, then making sure that the assessment aligns, and then instruction tumbles from there. So it's basically a backwards design model. Next, we have collaborative climate and culture. Our average daily attendance right now is 94.15%. Last year it was at this exact time was 94.76%. So we're running pretty neck and neck. Our APR data, however, is tracking for a 3. If I know the game, I'm very happy to play it. So I'm working very hard to make sure that we earn those points at the highest level that we can earn them. Specifically, I want to highlight some work that we're being very intentional about that this year, which is our professional learning teams. Our teachers are engaged in professional learning teams 5 days of the week. 3 of the days are with content. 1 of the days is behavior, and the other day is getting preparation for RTI, putting them into RTI schedule, ready to go. So Mondays and Tuesdays, our teachers are working primarily around questions 1 and 2. What do we want kids to know? And how are we going to know that they know it? And Wednesday is an opportunity for them to look at current CFA data. They use that data then on Fridays to make when they're back with their team, to draft students into RTI scheduler. And then Thursdays is a specific behavior focus. We're going to watch a little video here about PLTs at BMS.
Which we can add some percentages in there, but what if we did like a recipe book where they're like, or something like Christmassy?
PLC is a professional learning community, and the idea is really just to help teachers become better teachers to support their students.
Working toward a goal where students are learning, and we're all trying to get them to have the best Tier 1 instruction possible so that we get the best learning outcome, and just all working toward that as a team.
Bouncing ideas off each other and just doing this as a group. So it's not on your own doing it. So just creating and through that process and looking where your kids are at and just looking for the best for the kids.
What is our point with summarizing?
Put it in a nutshell in our language.
And we make it smaller.
Once a week we meet with our curriculum coaches, and a lot of that is aligning the standards, the state standards, with our tests that we're giving, and then each day's lesson, like what standard is that lesson going to hit, and then making sure we're getting those priority standards, are the ones that are tested a lot, making sure we're hitting those and that students are understanding them.
Coach Summers and I will meet up with the instructional coach, and then we'll just kind of look through our pacing guide, look through our tests, aligning our standards, just making sure everything's there. It's together, so the grade, you know, if a kid is in one class, they're getting the same education in both classes.
Monday and Tuesday we're looking at unpacking the units that are coming, so our future work, and trying to get everything aligned and ready for when we hit it at that point in the quarter, we'll be ready for it. And then Wednesdays we've kind of been holding to the pattern of data dives. We're looking at our current units, the standards, how the students are doing on their assessments and their learning progressions.
Do we want to start with rock cycle, or do we want to start with layers of the atmosphere?
We can see how other people are teaching the concepts, and so sometimes that gives us an idea of a better way to approach it.
Like, I'm looking at the data, I'm like, why is this kid missing this question? And you know, you might talk and they're like, hey, this is how I taught it, and like, never thought about that way.
Sometimes like she just will show up and she's like, hey, I have an idea. And sometimes I'll be like, hey, what do you think of this? How can we make history fun? Like, how can we make it to where these kids are getting what they need, and how can we keep them engaged?
So nowadays, instead, we don't have everyone agree. We have representatives that do it for us, but we need to have starts with an M, Waylon? Majority.
As a new teacher, it's super important. It lets me know where we're heading, what's important to teach. For 8th graders at their level, what do we need these kids to have for their future and for high school? How can we develop them, and what we need to put into our content. So as a new teacher it's my 2nd year, I get to kind of be a lot more hands-on with this curriculum and kind of make some of it my own instead of just like, okay, this has just been what's been done for years.
With me being the department head at the middle school, I try to meet with the 8th grade and meet with the 6th grade, just kind of keep, hey, what are you guys doing in 6th grade that I can support? And then in 8th grade, what can I do to give you some background? And so that's really been good for us.
Our role allows us to see the vertical progression a little more easily. That sometimes is hard to see as a teacher because you're just living in your world. And so I think that's something with an IC we can help bridge the vertical progression between the grade levels.
That means that we have Monday through Friday lessons 1 through 5.
I love the community aspect. It feels like everyone here cares about kids, cares about me as an educator. They have poured into me, and especially our history department here, they have done nothing but pour into me and try to invest in me and really make me the best I can. I think that is a community that everyone wants to take a part of, and if we can find ways to highlight that culture and also encourage the kids to do the same thing, that we like, hey, how can we make each other better and have fun at school?
I think it's a moment of iron sharpening iron. That's probably one of the most beautiful things about the professional learning community is that we all have a seat at the table in what we're bringing. There's a lot of strength in what we can bring, and it only lifts us up.
We're very blessed at BMS to have access to 2 instructional coaches this week. We have one in our building full-time. She is primarily focused on social studies and ELA. And then we have a second coach that's with us on Mondays and Tuesdays, primarily focused on math and science. So the work that you saw here really honors something that we talked about specifically on September 29th, which was a PL Day. For us, I don't know, some of you may have been in the middle school here, but in 2001, the middle school was a Gold Star school. So we talked about having great expectations at the middle school, that we are striving for something really big in our kids' lives. And it's not just for a circle on the wall. It's because this is really meaningful work for our kids. We are the next step before high school. And that's really where life starts to come into formation for our kids. So we have big things in store for our kids. I want to end with just a look at what's coming for us. We are in full winter sport mode. And surprisingly enough, girls basketball is actually almost finished. That's kind of strange, the way they stagger that. Girls basketball starts early. We have a 8th grade field trip coming up on December 5th and December 11th. Our Christmas play, A Christmas Idol, is coming up. iReady testing and December Fun and Field Day. Seems so odd that we're talking about the end of December and the end of first semester. What questions can I answer for you about the middle school?
Brooke, I just want to, I appreciate the PLT work that you're doing. It's impressive what we saw. I was concerned when I got on the board about that. We've talked with Dr. Method a lot about PLCs and PLTs and all that. I'm like, and what I've seen here is good work. So I want to commend you on that. Your building has a lot of younger instructors, first year, younger. Are we as a board supporting that? Is there anything that we can do to better support that initiative with those teachers?
Well, I have a past life as an instructional coach, which is sometimes an interesting bucket to pull from. So I think firsthand, just that presence of that person that can saddle right up beside somebody is a very powerful thing. We are blessed to have a coach and a half with us this year. But I think just increased opportunities in that regard. I have people that reach out to me at the middle school and want me to come in for coaching opportunities, and that is a bucket filler for me, absolutely. But I can't give that, that level of attention and time. But there's just such intentionality that comes when you have that mentorship opportunity that happens. So not necessarily more coaches, but just, opportunities for the coaches to be with the new people often, I think is powerful. Anything else?
Thank you, Dr. Campbell.
Thank you.
Appreciate everything that you and your entire team are doing. And obviously, this is an important time for our students as they prepare for what's next. And which kind of brings us to our next agenda item as we look at our annual program update for the A+ program. And we'll welcome VHS Principal, Mr. Jason Blair, to the podium to talk about, as we continue on, move students through the progression to take advantage of the A+ opportunities as well.
Yeah, so Mrs. Shackley is our A+ coordinator, also our Root Ed counselor. Had a previous engagement tonight, so I'm stepping in and got just a few slides. I'm sure you're familiar with the A+ program, so it'll be fairly brief. Yep, there we go. So just real quick overview on the program requirements. Again, these are set by the state of Missouri, but for a student to receive an A+ scholarship, they must have at least a 2.5 GPA, a cumulative attendance of 95%, and then there is a condition there to achieve either proficient or advanced on their EOC, and then if they don't, there's ways around that where if you take a combination of their ACT along with their GPA, you can modify that a little bit. They're required to complete 50 hours of tutoring or mentorship, and then again, there's a citizenship component. So those are the program conditions. Again, those haven't changed. The piece that I want to focus on, probably more than any, is just what the current focus is for our A+ program, and specifically things that Mrs. Shackley's looked at. And one of her big pushes is not only analyzing, you see number one, analyzing the efficiency and effectiveness of the program, but really going down into number two of a refocus on educating students, families, staff on the requirements and the benefits of the A+ program. Here in a second I'll show you our A+ numbers, but one of Mrs. Shackley's big focuses is making sure that all families know there's benefit to the A+ program. So many times we think of this as just a 2-year. Many 4-year schools are now offering A+ scholarships if you're an A+ student and you decide not to go to a 2-year school. So there's benefit there, as well as students don't always think about using that A+ scholarship to potentially go to summer school ahead of their 4-year school or in between their 4-year school, and using that money to offset and get some of those core classes taken care of. So that's something Ms. Shackley picked up on last year that she's working on really hard this year, is just kind of making sure families know, hey, this is a huge benefit regardless of what your plans are for most students. Again, other things is working on our handbook and tutoring training, and then again looking for more effective ways to track those tutoring hours. That's probably what she would say is one of her bigger lifts, is just keeping those tutoring hours tracked. That top piece there, the measurement, you can see we've been pretty flat, pretty consistent with our number of A+ students, and these are students that actually have graduated high school and have received the A+ scholarship. So last year we had 75 students, the year before that 74, the year before that 77, so pretty flat track, or pretty steady track there. As far as tools that she needed or things that she thinks, she's just always looking for ways to make the program more efficient. So one thing, I'm sure when you're dealing with 75 students, all who have to complete 50 hours of tutoring or mentorship, that's a lot of logs and tracking and keeping up with teachers and making sure. So again, that's just an area where she's always looking for efficiencies in. And then finally, as far as her future goals for the program, again, I mentioned a piece of that would be just kind of educating folks, and specifically families and students, on the benefits. One thing we're looking at is making that process of getting into A+ a little easier by streamlining that with an online component instead of all the paper. The other thing she's working on with other buildings is trying to make, again, we have 75 students that are doing A+ tutoring at some point during their high school career, so working with other buildings and teachers to make sure we're taking advantage of those kids. We want it to be a good experience for everyone. We want it to be a good experience for the buildings we're sending our kids to, for the teachers they're going with, and for our students that are tutoring. So those two areas especially kind of been a focal point for Mrs. Shackley in the A+ program. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer those. I know a lot of you are very familiar with the program, but anything from the board?
Thank you, Mr. Blair.
You're welcome.
Obviously, a great program and one that the state of Missouri has invested in. A great, obviously, putting that as a major budget item. And I know from personally, just the power of having a child pursue that and take advantage of the 2 year of free post-secondary education is powerful, no doubt. Thank you. As we transition, next up we have our fall extra and co-curricular activities report from our activities director, Colt Blair. Thank you, sir. It's been a busy and successful fall season.
It has. Appreciate you guys having me here tonight to be able to go through all the things that we've accomplished throughout the course of the fall season. I think Nathan kind of touched on it earlier when he was here. All the wins and all the success, I'm all for it. We're all for it. But I think it's the piece where we try to create better people. And so when we look at what we're trying to do, obviously we want it to be a positive experience. But we also want to create good citizens. We also want to give them lifelong skills as they go through each of our sports and extracurricular activities. So want to do a little more with this next year as we transition into Infinite Campus. But we had 360 kids that were a part of our MISHA activities. So that's our sports, that's choir, band, speech and debate, and theater. So the average GPA there was 3.23, so obviously all of our kids doing well. What we know about kids that get involved in activities is they have higher GPAs and they're at school more. And so when you look at our attendance for those 360 kids, we're over 95%. That number will probably increase as I've been an AD, those numbers go up because we have more kids and more sports throughout the year. And typically, well, I say typically, always our GPAs and our attendance are higher. So hopefully do a little bit more with that as we get our new information system. Jumping into our first activity, football, finished the year 3-7. Obviously, when you look at that record, probably not where we wanted it to be, but first couple of games we were a little bit snake bit, had some balls not bounce our way. And but I think what I'm most proud of is if you watched our kids throughout the season, they continue to try to get better, they continue to try to persevere. And so a lot of our young kids also got some opportunities. Our JV finished 6-3. And so heading into the off season, getting stronger, Coach Clardy getting more of his system implemented over more than just 1 year. We're really excited about where this is headed. I promise this worked about an hour ago. Okay. So cross country, obviously we've talked about this and hopefully get them in next month, but they had a fantastic year. As they go out through the season, if you watch them, I mean, it's just all guts. Those kids work extremely hard. What you would see if the picture was there, and maybe you can kind of see it there, but the team GPA, and it's on all the slides for our team GPA, everyone's over 3.0. But their team GPA is 3.7. That's the highest of all of our activities in the fall. So just really, really impressed and proud of that group of kids. Girls tennis obviously was in here a little earlier. Just to recap, third place in state for the team. Cammie and Jill being state champions in Class 1 for doubles. But again, just a lot of success there. We had over 40 girls also out for that team. So again, proud of that group. Volleyball finished 12-19-3. Obviously, we'd love to have a record that's a little better, but when you look at our schedule and look at our conference, 3 of the 7 teams were either won a district title or played for a district championship. So it's a really tough league. But individually, Abby Kaufman, Heidi Roden, and Skylar Moore all received postseason honors. And kind of the highlight, I guess, for a historical point, Heidi Roden became the all-time leader in digs. Again, girls golf, I know they were in last month, finished 6th. I'll brag on Delaney Daniels one more time. Really just a fantastic golfer and a hard worker, but probably even better person. So again, just goes to show that our coaches pour into our kids. I probably put too many pictures on each slide, didn't I, Braden? It's okay. Boys soccer had a great year, 18-6 and 5-1. Their one loss came in conference to Rogersville. You can see all the honors and individual awards. We were ranked as high as number 7 in the state. Kind of the unlucky draw in our district, 4 out of the top 10 ranked teams in the state were in our district. So we lost in the semifinals to Catholic, who's arguably maybe one of the best teams at all levels, and they'll be playing for a state championship this weekend. Softball had another fantastic year, 18 and 15. Started off the year, got second place in the Morrisville tournament. We kind of, story for a few teams, fought the injury bug early in the season, but again, I think it speaks to our community, and I've said it at the parent meetings. Our kids are blue-collar kids who work really hard and try not to make excuses. And so proud of the way I think they finished the year playing their best softball. If you look on the front there, we've got 5 seniors who will be extremely hard to replace. I don't know if you can really replace them, but we'll do our best, and we're excited about the young kids that are coming up behind them. I want to take a second to brag on cheer. They work all year long and support all of our teams. And so just want to shout them out for that, but also just the community aspect that they bring. They do, just an example, a mini cheer clinic for our youth, and as a dad who had a little girl that went to that and who just loves it, it makes them really want to be a part of the school and to be a liberator. So thank you to them for that. They will do one competition in the second half of the year. I believe it's February at Drury at Game Day State, so they've got that looking forward to that coming up. Choir, they had, as they mentioned in the accommodations, 10 kids on the honor choir, all Southwest Missouri honor choir list. Coach, Mrs. DeClue does a fantastic job with them. Sadie Reisner finished as an honorable mention. Speech and debate got started in October, and they continue to rock and roll. You can look in the pictures. They've got a ton of trophies and kids that are just getting better all the time. Mr. Winkler works with them. I think they head to Parkview this weekend, so they're looking forward to that. And they'll continue with their MSHA districts. Those will finish up or get started, I guess, in March. Band finished up their marching season. Again, you can see we have kids that have earned all district honor band and then some marching band celebrations for the whole team. Right now they're headed into the part of their season where they'll be in a pep band, jazz band, and then their MSHA stuff again will take place in the spring. Theater, those kids they worked extremely hard to get their production done over the last couple of weeks with Little Women. I heard so many compliments on that, and they did a fantastic job. Winter season is getting ready to be in full swing. Boys basketball was a jamboree tonight. Girls basketball jamboree at Ozark on Tuesday. Wrestling will start December 4th, as well as swimming on December 4th. So getting ready to get going in full swing right again. So any questions?
Has your wife had to help coach any other sports besides tennis?
Not yet. Okay. I don't know that I'd let her coach any other sports.
Just tell her we appreciate her.
Yeah.
I know she helped in, but we had a lot of tennis. She had to jump in.
Yeah.
Helping at the football field, all the new the football field at SPU looks great. Yeah, appreciate
that. Yeah, I couldn't do my job without her. So.
Yeah, she helps a lot.
Yeah.
It's great to have you back.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was going to tell you from a selfish perspective, I'm ecstatic to be back wearing the blue and gold. So I know it sounds corny, but I love being here.
Well, thank you for your leadership, and thanks for a great update on obviously a lot happening across the district and on the field and in all of our activities as well. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Cole.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to board governance. A couple of things. Again, to review for the board, the Belcher Scholarship, we have 11 applicants. December 8th, Cheryl, is the date that you need those no later than, and that we are going to select two, number 1 and number 2, and submit those to Cheryl. We can email you with those. Mr. Pitts is going to talk about this, but Dr. Coffey and myself are on the district committee to look at our health insurance renewal coming up, and you may talk more about that at that time, but we're glad that we're able to be a part of that, and just had a meeting this week and are looking forward to making the best recommendation possible for our district. Does anyone else have anything under board governance that I missed? We do carve out a very small amount of time in each board meeting to talk about learning. And this month's topic is the concept of memory or memorization. In other words, what role does memory or memorizing have to do with learning? And frequently, for us as a board, when we talk about this, there's a natural, what did it look like when we were in school, and what does it look like today? So any thoughts or comments from anybody on the board in regard to memory, memorization?
Mine's terrible.
Ditto. Mine's getting worse.
It's getting worse as I get older, yes.
Mine never was good from a standpoint of I was always jealous of my peers that seemed to memorization came so much more naturally to them. They didn't have to work at it as much as I did.
I think that's, you gotta realize, in high school, anything social science related was naturally easy for me. I didn't have to study, didn't have to do anything. And then when I got to college, boy, was that a different story, and was I in for a rude awakening, because it was a whole different ballgame. I mean, it was a different level of information, and it didn't come naturally easy anymore. So I had to work a lot more. And I mean, I can honestly say that my first 2 years of college were absolutely horrendous. And that's why I ended up going 5, because I had to make up some stuff. So I don't know that memorization had anything to do with it. I really don't. But it's just that a lot of us have natural abilities, natural subjects, things come natural to us. So I don't really, do I remember those now? No, I had 3 years of Spanish in college, in high school, and I couldn't, Ola's about the only thing I can remember. So I think practice is more important than trying to memorize.
That's a good point.
Yeah, some of what Brian just said, you know, there's memorization and there's actual understanding the concepts, and I mean, there's some kids that, yeah, I'm sure it comes more natural on the memorization side, but and there may be other kids that, for tests and stuff like that, you know, may not be as well as that, but they can, practical sense, understand the concept and remembering that always.
More real life aligning to what we actually do once we're out into the real world does more, in my opinion, than just, here it is, I want you to know it, we're going to test you on it. You got to be able to relate it to what we do in real life. Once the education side, once we're through with college and everything, we start getting out and trying to earn a living, support a family, or whatever it is we're going to do. You've got to be able to transfer it to real life.
How is it relevant to reality?
I'll just throw out that sometimes there is a need for memorization, in my
Absolutely.
opinion.
Yes.
Multiplication tables.
Oh, yeah.
Multiplication. When I taught here, summer school for fourth graders, we used flashcards a lot. I was amazed at how many kids could not, and I was like, we got better through summer school. I was like, you need to know those. 4 times 3 is 12. It should be automatic. It shouldn't be, So we worked on that some. So some of those things were very beneficial for me.
As much as I hated that repetition with my mom,
right,
and those flashcards,
right,
boy, was I, as I got through, into
Right.
high school,
Right.
so glad that.
There's some English rules I know because of memorization in high school.
Absolutely.
We had to diagram sentences. Mr. Jones taught us, and I hated it then, but I'm thankful for it now because I'm better at English because of that. I know the state capitals because Mrs. Hammonds made us memorize them in 5th grade. Still know that stuff, so there is a need for it sometimes, but
Absolutely.
I have a bad memory now from a skiing accident. I always blame it on that, but yeah, yeah. So I can't memorize like I used to.
There was a time when, like, I take my parents who are in their 90s age, and information back then. I mean, we are much more affluent in today's world, all of us, for the most part, than our prior generations. And even many families had very few books, and of course, it was well before the internet. So information back then was gold. I mean, in just learning something and then trying to remember it. Now we can ask Siri or Alexa or anything, and AI will come up with everything. So it's not that memory is not important, it is. But we can get all the information today. So think about how different education is today and what our teachers are doing with it today and how that impacts what we do here. It's a very different dynamic, and thankfully our staff recognize that, and they're teaching kids today for today's world without ignoring those important things of the past, of blending them. So, very good. Good discussion today. Thank you for taking part of that. All right, moving on. Financial planning.
Hello. Thank you to Mike for presenting for me last month. I know I couldn't be here because I had a prior thing planned. Tonight I'm just going to let you, this is July through October. So as of revenue collected year to date is just over 8.1 million. Expenditures are 11.5. Right now we are a year to date at a deficit. However, that's normal for this time of the year. We don't have a large section of revenue coming in. Right now it is just our state and anything that we have grant-wise that we've applied for and asked for reimbursement. We get our large local revenue, usually late December sometimes, but most of the time it's not till January that we get our first big check for local revenue. So these are the months where we are low, and it's always constantly, like right now we have our bond monies, but I'm trying to keep that invested as long as I can before moving it to the bank account. So just keeping an eye on that every day and making sure that we're earning as much interest as we can possible. So, do you guys have any questions for me?
Thank you. That was brief.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
your work too, and obviously the clean audit, and we continue to be prudent with our fiscal responsibility as well as a district, and thanks for leading that work.
Thank you.
Next up, our academic update with Dr. Garber.
Yes. All right, first off, just want to share a little bit about our APR scores. Earlier this month, we did share that our district received the highest score that we've received in 4 years, ever since MSIP 6 has been out. So we're very excited about that. We received 85.5% of our points, which it does reflect a 3% increase from last year. A lot goes into our APR. Academics, our standardized achievement scores for both status and growth, attendance, college and career readiness, graduation rate, CSIP. So there's a lot that goes into that. But it's encouraging to see that all of our work that we're investing into Tier 1 instruction, positive and safe learning environments, professional learning communities is being reflected in these results. So shout out to our amazing principals and teachers, all of our staff, the work that we're doing in our buildings. It's shown off, and it's definitely a big celebration. So we're very, very excited about that. Yeah, yeah. Great celebration. Also, as part of our APR and our continued focus on improvement efforts, part of that is sharing updates on our academic plans. And so tonight, in your board packets, you guys have a one-page kind of overview, a document of our literacy plan. So real quick, just going to go through a few highlights with you on that. Really, the purpose of the plan, it ensures that we are aligned as a district around a common vision for literacy, helps us drive continuous improvement through data and intentional action that we're taking, and it ensures consistency across all buildings and classrooms and our focus on literacy. Our plan is aligned to all 6 domains of the Missouri Lead, Read, Exceed initiative. You can see those 6 domains there and some of the key actions that we have aligned in those areas. Just kind of an overview of some of our current strengths is our focus on science of reading, and that being implemented fully in our elementary buildings, our new ELA curriculum that we're implementing at the middle school, and our continued emphasis and growth on early childhood partnerships. Focus areas as we continue to move forward, we want to continue to focus on our percentage of K-3 students who are meeting or exceeding grade level benchmarks, continuing to focus on letters implementation in our elementary buildings, reducing chronic absenteeism, because we know how literacy gains are tied to attendance as well, and then continuing to increase our family literacy engagement activities. So, just again, a kind of a highlight, overview of our literacy plan that we have in place for you guys. Next update I want to share is about our academic calendar for 26-27. It sounds weird saying that, but we are at the time of the year to start planning for that academic calendar already. We had our first calendar committee meeting yesterday. It's a great committee, good representation across the district, good dialogue, good discussion. Really started talking about some of our parameters for next year's calendar. A lot of those are the same, so we're going to still focus on developing an academic calendar that has 169 student attendance days in it, like this year's calendar. Continuing to look at how we're structuring our professional learning days. How do we want to include inclement weather hours, the impacts there. And then we are looking at a new factor for next year's calendar, and that is looking at building in additional teacher collaboration time. So as you guys saw highlighted tonight, the power of the work that we're doing with professional learning communities. And so we're doing great work with that. We're really looking at building in more time to continue that work and to go deeper in what we're doing with that. It's one of our 3 district priorities, and we know the power of being able to build in that time. So what we're looking at is implementing either a possible late start Wednesday or an early out Friday. Previously as a district we did do late start Wednesday. There are several schools in our conference that utilize an early out Friday, and it does seem that we're kind of maybe trending in that direction, more towards an early out Friday. Logistically, it does work better within our school system and tends to be a little more conducive for families and their weekly schedules as well. But really, our next steps and what we're going to be looking at is gathering feedback. So after Thanksgiving break, we're going to be sending out some surveys to staff and parents, just open-ended questions, asking for their feedback that then we can take and kind of utilize that in some of our next steps. So our next meeting will be in December. We'll have that survey back, that data back, where we can kind of go through that and analyze it, and then we'll really start a lot of the logistics on trying to develop 2 initial draft calendars that we will then get more feedback on from staff as well. So we'll have meetings about every month moving forward, and then be able to give regular updates to the board as well on where we're at. And then we would envision, depending how all that goes, to be on a similar timeline as last year, to where staff would be able to vote in early February on an option, and we would have a recommendation to the board for the February board meeting. So.
On that early out Friday, how do those districts do that with coaching and with kids that need to stick around for sports, or they need to coach or have a game or something?
That's a great question, and that has come up. So that's something obviously we'll continue to collaborate with those districts on how they handle it. But typically we would have something to where we can provide something for those students who are staying after school. Maybe it's a study hall, some kind of focused intentional time where they could stay, and then coaches still participate in collaboration.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Obviously, there'll be certain sports, depending on the season, where on certain Fridays they may need to leave, early for activities. That's just part of the schedule, and that's not year-long. So, any other questions on the calendar before moving on?
I'd like to say that as we've fine-tuned and placed an emphasis on the PLC, that we are giving a serious look at providing more time for our staff to actually participate in that. I know that looks different at every building with the structures built in here and there, but I think if that's something that we value, then our actions should back that up. So some of that time was removed a couple years ago, so us at least considering replacing that is saying, here's what we believe in, and here's us proving what we believe in. Makes sense to me. Yep.
Does it affect the number of minutes in the school day?
It does. It affects the number of hours in our overall calendar, which we're accounting for. So we make sure we're meeting the state minimums and our inclement weather hours, but we can account for that. And then it would obviously shorten the day that we go. We bring in the numbers based on 1 hour. We could also do like maybe an hour 15 and still make that work as well. So,
great question.
Yep.
So we wouldn't have to add more days to the calendar. We'd still be okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Really, the length would impact the our approach to using how we tackle inclement weather days. And if whether after 7 potential snow days, we had to start looking at AMI, or after 5 snow days, we had to consider AMI. So we still have the inclement weather days built in, but it would just, we'd have to slide what that looks like and how many we actually would be able to utilize. So.
Any other calendar questions? All right, well, like I said, we'll keep you guys updated as we go through the process. So, all right, last update I had real quick was just giving an update about senior trip planning. So plans do continue to progress for our annual senior trip to Washington, D.C. and New York City. It's a continued focus on providing both a valuable and safe experience for our students. While in New York City, the trip does focus on only visiting some of those high interest areas. So Central Park, Times Square, Ground Zero, some of those places. And then really some additional precautionary measures that we've put in place over the past couple of years to continue to focus on student safety. We've added 2 additional adult chaperones to the trip as well. All students are assigned in groups of 10 to 12 to an adult chaperone that they are with. They are required to download and use Life 360 and share that with their adult chaperone so they can be monitored at all times. No student is ever allowed to go anywhere on their own. And of course, no taxi, Uber, or public transportation is utilized as well during that time. So plans are underway, and just it's such a valuable tradition for our students, so we want to make sure that it's meaningful and safe as well.
I think some of those measures are good, and I think just as a district, with the ongoing political environment that's going on in New York, I think we just may have to maybe a fluid situation just to make sure, if some of those things that get implemented, like talked about, he'd prefer to do, making sure it's a safe environment up there still as well, because it's a great trip.
Yeah.
And as many of us have been on, it's a great experience.
Yeah. Yep. I think we'll continue to monitor the situation and make sure that student safety is a priority.
And the structure that you just outlined is certainly more tight and controlled than years past. I know those things you described, many weren't in place back in my day when I went on those trips. So, and I think necessary in the world we live in today, that those have been wise to implement. So thank you for, and I know you guys will continue to monitor the evolving situation in New York and keep an eye on things there.
Yeah, as with any trip, when we're traveling out of state, we want to make sure if something's happening at the destination, then we're going to make adjustments as needed. For sure.
Thank you for that update.
Yep.
Thank you, Dr. Garber. All right, next up, we've got our operations update with Mr. Pitts.
Thank you, Dr. Methvin. Just a few quick updates. Tonight, as President Ron mentioned, we did have our first Health Insurance Committee meeting. We're off to a strong start. We're collaborating. We have action plans in place. Tonight, in fact, I'll ask the board to approve an initial request for qualifications, RFQ, so we can send to interested vendors. That'll be the first of a few different rounds. This RFQ is going to help us land on a short list of qualified vendors, and it's going to look at their qualifications, experience, and general approach. In concert with that, we're sending a survey out to our employees very soon, possibly tomorrow, Monday, at the latest, to our employees to gather their valuable feedback. Our committee is on track to bring a recommendation to you of our final vendor at the February board meeting. So right now, President Ron, I would formally ask that the board approve our committee to prepare and distribute this initial RFQ to prospective vendors.
Anybody have any questions or other considerations before we give our blessing? Being a member of the committee and whatnot, I felt very comfortable with where we're at, what we're looking at, and I'm excited to be looking. Health insurance?
Man, I am missing something somewhere. Exit fee. Are we still paying an exit fee?
That is still part, yes, it's still part of the current bylaws with our current consortium, yes.
There's no way.
One
And
month.
when would this go into effect? When would we make the change? What's the
So it would
target?
be 26, 27 school year. We would bring in February a recommendation to the board for who our recommended vendor would be at the February board meeting.
Kind of timeline there.
How many vendors are you reaching out to? I mean, are you just doing an
There,
update?
there are maybe a half a dozen right now, and we would welcome anyone that is interested in this service for us, Dan. There are at least a half a dozen that we have expressed interest over the last cycle.
So a good pull.
Yes.
Yes, so yes, put that out and hopefully the more competition that is there.
Okay, then with unanimous consent, I will send that out, the
Yes.
RFP. I could consider that as board approval,
You
correct?
bet. No, we can do it.
Okay, moving on.
Or do we?
Let's go ahead and just
Oh,
get
do we?
action
Okay.
to move forward, get seeking
Okay.
RFQs.
My motion to,
Okay, we got a motion from Drew.
oh, I'll second it.
You can give it to Dan.
Dan on the second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. There's it. Formally got it.
Thank you. We had our first safety committee meeting late last month. In fact, it was Halloween. About 12 of us met. We had some in-house presentations and updates. They were very good about initiatives going on in our district. And we had a good discussion of a couple of focus areas, which included bus safety and bullying prevention. It was a great meeting with lots of helpful discussion. We came away with some strong action steps. It's a dynamic list. We are working through it right now. Some of them we have completed, and many of them are related to the initiatives included in Senate Bill 68, including this one. This is one of our new Stop the Bleed kits. We have 13 of these in strategic locations where our AED kits are. I'd like to thank SRO Scott for his great work in helping us get these. He and Nurse Aaliyah, very instrumental in helping us with some of those initiatives in Senate Bill 68. In fact, this week, all of our nurses were trained with these new kits by CMH, and they are now instructors. They can train the trainers. And they have a special training in this, and Scott also participated in that training. Any questions on safety before I move to my last section? You'll be able to see from the upcoming pictures that things are really moving on our projects at the Ag Building, which is still scheduled to maybe have a ribbon cutting in sometime late December. Branco is making steady progress on interior finishes, things like drywall, painting, mechanical, plumbing, trim out work. Once that painting is complete, crews are going to start on the ceiling and millwork and final walls. You're also going to see a long canopy that connects the existing building, the greenhouse, and the new building. It's going to be a really cool thing. And then we'll do final grading and grass seeding. Moving on to the work we're doing at BIS and BES. That is scheduled to have substantial completion in late Feb. Structural steel, roofing, and masonry crews are all active. A lot of movement over there if you drive by. The structural steel installation is near completion. That's going to let that roofing team move right in and start drying out the buildings. Masons are starting brick veneer once the first roof section is done. Our last project is ECLC. Branco completed the slab pour this week, and which is now ready for the PEMB, pre-engineered metal building delivery next Wednesday. So next week, during the holiday, Branco is going to do their dirt work in the playground area. They're going to put straw down and seed to help with erosion control and also keep kiddos away from the wrong spots. Vertical construction is scheduled to begin immediately after the holiday, and we all know when things start to go vertical, it's very exciting to see that progress. I'm happy to take your questions.
All good, suitable soil there, no big change orders there on that?
We do have change orders every now and then, but we have pluses and minuses, and they've been minor. It's my understanding that our contingency hasn't really been touched on the Ag Building and some of the projects, and we should have a pretty nice check coming back. frankly.
That's good news. They figure out a way to get any vents up by the horse's nose to make it look like
That's where the contingency is going.
I mean, come on, they got money still.
That's where the
Will-
heat vent is going to be.
That's right.
You know, after you said that, he just turned around and walked away.
When the extension school and the intermediate are done, will that playground equipment be going back in there for the extension school?
Absolutely. You know, Brian, you mentioned that we crossed the finish line yesterday on the playground equipment. It looks sharp. And the last box they have to check, we had to do a separate contract for that. They're going to reinstall the existing equipment. Great question.
That's extremely important for the extension school. They need that.
Totally agree.
Yeah, they've been very flexible and obviously all the construction that's happening and utilizing the space over at BIS, thankfully. So we're looking forward to getting their individual playground put back together.
On the ECLC building, you said pre-engineered metal building. Is it going to still be bricked on the outside just like the rest of the building, or is it going to be a different exterior?
Yes, it is. We've been very careful. In fact, the superintendent and I have made 2 trips over there to make sure that brick matches. Right.
Good deal.
They're gonna be able to keep that big tree next to the new restaurant?
They are, my understanding is they are not going to be able to keep that.
Okay.
Right. We did our best.
Yeah.
Hate losing trees.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Again, following the theme of we can't believe the time is here already, but board candidate filing is always a December time. And this year, the first day for board candidate filing is December 9th, runs through December 30th. So anybody interested in running for the Board of Education, December 9th through the 30th would be the board candidate filing dates. And if anyone's interested, here at Central Office is where you would come to express interest in doing so. And a friendly person will greet you and walk you through the steps of getting the paperwork going for that. So. Next, we need to consider an alternative date for the April 26th board meeting.
Yeah, so the requirements for that board meeting to fall, and I'll reach out for some details on that to Cheryl. It needs to fall after the reorganization meeting, must be within, is it 14 days?
14 days, I believe.
Of the election. And so the date we would be looking at would be, what? April 16th. So we just want to confirm that we've got a date that we have nailed down as a board that meets that requirement. So April 16th would meet that requirement of falling within that 14 days. Want to get that on the calendar, and I'm already seeing some. Just want to make sure that's going to work for everybody.
That's our normal
I will not be here.
meeting, right?
I
There we
will
go.
be in
Yeah.
St. Thomas and San Juan and the hell
you
say that week. And I'm not canceling, sorry.
I'm glad we brought this up so
But
that
you'll be
you
in
have
on
time to
Zoom,
cancel
right?
those plans.
Yeah, sure. From the beach in San Juan or St. Thomas, I'll
You
get
could
on
carve
Zoom.
out 3 or 4 hours that evening to join us through a video feed.
From the beach.
You'll be
Yeah.
sipping your that evening, I'll probably be on a boat somewhere.
So keep it as is, obviously with Brian not part of it, we'll go ahead and plan to keep it with April 16th.
April 16th.
Sounds good.
No change, we'll keep our regularly scheduled
Okay.
meeting date.
Sounds good.
Okay.
What updates do you have for us on your end?
All right. Yeah, well, tonight's been a great showcase, really, of some of the great things that we have happening across our district, from the intentional structures that are put in place at BMS to ensure student learning at high levels, the A+ program at the high school, and just that progression to moving students towards success at college and career. And then obviously in all of our extracurricular activities, just the liberators are rising and showing out, and just want to kind of put a shout out to all the work that happens behind the scenes in order to make that possible. And just the work of our leaders, our principals, our teachers, our staff to really dig into the priorities. Obviously, part of that is we're continuously planning and looking at what's next for us as a district as we grow and improve, and just have that mindset that we're never stagnant. And part of that, work that we're looking at from our calendar side is how do we weave in more time for our teachers to do the work that is the reason that we exist, the reason that we're here around student learning. And so whether we're carving out some late start Wednesday or early release Friday, obviously we feel that's an important time for our team to dig into the work of teaching and learning. And so excited to continue down that journey and see where we land as we move forward, and appreciate the support of our board in that work. As we think about, obviously financially, we continue to work to be fiscally responsible and sustainable long term. The audit is an example of, again, giving us some good feedback that the things that we're doing are working. Appreciate the work that Chelsea has done to help us make good decisions with the resources that we do have, and we have to continue to be responsible and conservative as we move forward because of all the uncertainty, in particular, that's happening right now in Jefferson City with state funding. There is, the state is engaging in for the first time in 20 years, revamping the funding formula and some of the inequities that are out there. There's such a huge emphasis on local funds driving school districts, and which creates the haves and the have-nots. And assessed valuation drives all that revenue source for districts. And so we're keeping very close tabs, and we're obviously communicating with our representatives about the importance of state funding and having a sustainable model in place. Because right now, Missouri ranks 49th in the nation in percentage of state budget that goes to public schools. And then on the flip side, we're in the top 10% of local funding that drives public school budgets. And so it'll be very interesting to see what happens over the next several months as that task force digs into that work. And so but we as a district want to make sure that however it plays out, that we're in a good standing and in a strong financial position to be able to continue to make sure our students are successful. So thank you for telling our story as a district and helping us to make the most of the resources that we have. Obviously, as we head into Thanksgiving break, it's an opportunity for us to have gratitude, and there's a lot to be thankful for here in Bolivar schools. Just the work happening in our classrooms and our cafeterias this week. It was awesome to see just a great Thanksgiving meal happening, and people that aren't typically in the kitchen helping out to make sure that it was able to take place. And really, to our board, just thank you for your leadership and for your support, and providing a culture where our teachers can have what they need to be successful. To our staff, just the professionalism and the dedication to students. We're here for students, and that's always at the front of every decision that we make, and appreciate that as well. And then to our community, we have great support across the community, and we're very blessed here in Bolivar to have people that appreciate schools, that want the students to be successful, and are willing to chip in and help whenever we need that from them. So just thanks to our community, and I can't say enough how proud I am to be part of it as we move forward, and proud to be a Liberator. So I'm looking forward to everybody taking an opportunity to recharge the batteries and finish up a strong second semester when we come back from a week off for Thanksgiving.
Thank you for sharing, and certainly comes to gratitude. top of my list. It's great to be a liberator. Great to be a liberator.
That's right.
There are blessed people here, for sure. Okay, moving on to action items. We've got 3 things to vote on, folks, and we can wrap this up. First is the approval of the 24-25 audit. Do we have a motion? Brad, thank you. Do we- Second. Brian, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next, we had a slew of policy updates that we had to review. Are there any discussion items within that group from anybody to discuss prior to us voting on that group of items? Very good, okay. Then let's consider the approval of the slew of 2025D policy updates from MSBA.
So moved.
Lynn, thank you.
Second.
Second, Brian, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And finally, a motion to approve board policy AC pending MSBA review.
So moved.
Drew?
Second.
Lynn, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Drew and Brian, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Folks, thank you so much for being here.